Years after recalls pulled millions of cars off the road, Americans are still driving some of the most dangerous, equipped with exploding airbags that turn metal shrapnel into projectiles. Lisa Fletcher reports auto safety experts are urging consumers to take matters into their own hands.
If you thought the issues with deadly Takata airbags were in the rearview mirror, think again. How many faulty airbags are still out there?
There are at least 12 million cars out there that have been recalled and not fixed. But of those 12 million, 6 of them are in the highest priority groups. 6 million of those cars have airbags that are more likely than not to kill you than to save you in a crash.
Jerry Cox is an auto safety expert. He says U.S. Takata executives hired him in 2014 to convince Japanese ownership to admit the airbag inflators were defective and dangerous. What was the reaction from Japanese executives when you suggested that they take an aggressive approach toward public safety and recall of the inflators?
Well, it was the exact opposite of what they wanted to hear, and the company decided that they just weren't going to do that, and that they didn't have to do that.
What did they do instead?
What they did instead was to keep lying about what they knew,
resulting in more deaths and injuries as defective airbags exploded into passengers and drivers, like Corey Burdick, a father of 2, who lost his right eye after a minor accident sent a 3-inch piece of metal into his skull.
The piece of metal was in there, and it lodged into this cavity here. It was like a millimeter away from my brain, so it definitely could have killed me.
Dozens have been killed, and an untold number of people have been injured worldwide. According to Cox, even after Takata became the subject of the largest recall in U.S. history, millions of Americans are still at risk.
That agreement in 2015 was that they would do 100% repairs by the end of 2017.
Cox says 3 years past the deadline, and more than a quarter of the repairs are yet to be completed, some of which, he says, are in the do not drive category.
Those are unbelievably dangerous. They're the first ones that were made. There were certain aspects of the manufacturing and the design of those that make them deadlier than the other ones. I mean, nobody wants to be driving around with a hand grenade in your car, but for those 6 million, that hand grenade, the pin's already been pulled, and there's not any excuse whatsoever for those still to be on the road.
You may or may not have gotten a recall notice. Many resemble junk mail, and if the car is older and has changed hands, it's not uncommon for notices to never reach the current owner. So it's up to you. Locate your VIN number and use the online tool on our website to see if your vehicle is under recall. If it is, Cox says contact a dealer who sells your make of vehicle and get it replaced immediately.
I have no interest in this except for one thing, and that is to get people to take these things out of their cars.
That was Lisa Fletcher reporting. AAA expects Americans to make 700 million trips this summer. Experts say it's critical to check your vehicle's status before hitting